my lovely friends, it is Margaret, and it is time to talk about what I will be reading for Vaultathon. If you're new to this channel and you've never heard of Vaultathon before, it's right around the corner. It starts Monday. As of the Monday after this video goes up, it's starting, and I have to have everything together. I am here to announce the co-hosts, let you know what I am reading, and to recommend books for those of you that are still trying to figure out your TBR. Vaultathon is a readathon where we take one older, underrated Disney movie and make that the theme for each round. This round we're going to be doing Brother Bear. There is a watch-along that is happening on the 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be on the Vaultathon Twitter tweeting out my thoughts as I am watching. You are welcome to join us using the hashtag #BBVaultalong. We will also be having a live show on the 21st of June. I will let you know the time as soon as I have conferred with the co-hosts. Speaking of the co-hosts, I am happy to announce that this round I will be working with Christine from The Other Christine That Reads, Michelle from Thor Wants Another Letter, and Kate from Chapter Kate. I am so happy to have all of these lovely people joining me during this readathon. It's going to be so much fun. I love the discussions that we have about the books and the movies, and I'm ready for it. Before I get into my TBR and what I will be recommending, I just want to remind everyone that we have the Transformation Challenge this round. Since we are dealing with a movie that portrays an Indigenous culture, I felt like we couldn't have this round without having some sort of discussion about Indigenous cultures and how they are portrayed in the media and cultural appropriation. So I will have linked down below the Twitter thread that I have started with all the resources for this challenge. I am challenging everyone who participates in this round to look at some sort of media that discusses the portrayal of Indigenous cultures in media. We far too often get these things wrong. We far too often think that we don't need the input of the people whose cultures are being portrayed in these things. If you can, try and find something that is written or produced by an Indigenous person. I'm not saying you need to find something specifically oriented to the Inuit culture or Brother Bear, because those have been very difficult to find, and if I have any and have found any, they will be linked in the Twitter thread below because I am looking for them. I just encourage everyone to participate in that challenge and to have some self-reflection and to think about what you've seen in the media, because so often what we see in the media is done without even the consideration, without the input of the people that are being portrayed. Now it is time to talk about what I will be reading for Vaultathon. I'm really excited. Well, not all of these books are exciting to me, but some of them are books I need to get out of the way, and they happen to fit the prompts. One of them specifically. I'm not entirely sure I'm excited about it. I am reading 4 books for Vaultathon, 1 book for each of the book-related prompts. Will I end up reading all 4 books? Who knows? It's always a toss-up. We never can quite be sure how much of the TBR Margaret is going to stick to. I make TBRs because they motivate me, not necessarily because they are what I am going to read. I will remind everyone that the group book, I Can Make This Promise by Christine Day, is meant to fulfill all of the book-related prompts. All of them. You can use this book. So if this is the only book I will read, which hopefully I will at least finish this one, because I'm hosting this readathon, so hopefully I'll have finished it this time around. So prompt number 1 is Brother Bear, and that is to read a book where the main character is either keeping a secret or having a secret kept from them. I will be reading the wrong side. I will be reading Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw for this prompt. From what I understand, the love interest in this book is keeping a secret from her. He's got some memory issues, but he might remember more than she thinks he does. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but it sounds good and it's got a pretty cover, okay? Okay. The first book that I want to recommend for this prompt is Lazaretto by Diane McKinney-Whetstone. I don't have words for how much I love this book. There are not a lot of books that have almost made me cry. I don't cry in books because I am a robot. The ending of this book had me choking up. It had tears in my eyes. Like, I didn't cry because I don't do that unless I'm ugly crying. I will cry over real world stuff sometimes, but not over fictional stuff. And this is a multi-generational historical fiction story. It is amazing. It takes place right after Lincoln's assassination in the United States, and it follows several different narratives of Black people who are living in the North around that time. They are connected by the city they live in, and that's about all I can say without taking away from that emotional impact at the end. But it mainly follows 2 boys who are foster brothers. They grew up in the same orphanage, and it follows how they are treated differently. And I just love this book so much. And I finally have a copy of it that I can hold in my hand, so y'all had better be ready for me to not shut up about it. The other one that I want to recommend is The Reader by Tracy Chee. This is about Seth Sophia, and it's complicated because the secret that she is carrying, she doesn't know it's a secret yet. There are things that her parents have not told her, but she has this book in this world where people don't read it. She has it, and she can read it. And so now she's getting all kinds of people coming after her because she has this book and she can read this book. And so she's having to discover what is going on, what didn't my parents tell me before they died. It's a dual narrative, like you're following Sophia, but you're also following stories from this book. The second prompt is The Mountain, and that is to read a book by an Indigenous author. I will be reading I Can Make This Promise by Christine Day. This is about Edie. She is half Native American. She knows this fact, however, she's separated from her culture because her mother was adopted by a white family. From what I understand, she lives with her grandparents, and she's sneaking around in the attic for some reason because, you know, that's what kids do when they can access their attic, at least. We never were able to do that. She finds this box of letters and pictures, and in the pictures, the woman who is signing her name as Edith looks exactly like Edie. So she starts to have questions about where she's from, whether or not she actually can reconnect with her heritage. We're gonna redo this somewhat. Alright, I like the new setup much better. Also, the Lazaretto is no longer threatening to fall on me. So the books that I want to recommend for this one are, first of all, Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. Guys, I'm so mad that I'm done with all of the books that are out right now. It is a very, very good series. It's a dystopian, sci-fi-ish, more dystopian, think Katniss, only as an adult, and she hunts monsters instead of hunting for food. It's about Maggie Hosky, and we are in this future dystopian world where the Navajo legends have returned to walk the earth, and Maggie Hosky is a monster slayer. She makes sure that people are safe. You can hire her, and she will go kill the monsters. And one day, someone hires her to go kill a monster to retrieve, I believe it's their daughter or their granddaughter, to rescue her from someone who has stolen her. And she finds out that it's something a little bit more than the usual monsters that she's having to deal with, and so she has to get some other people involved. The first one takes place on Navajo land, which is protected from the rest of the world after all these great cataclysmic events. I can't talk. After all of these great cataclysmic events have happened, and in the second book, we kind of go out into the rest of the world and see what that's like. This world building is so good, and I love Maggie Hosky as a character. If you want to know more about how I feel about this series, check out my May wrap-up, because I had probably about the same things to say, but maybe some more details. The next book I want to recommend is There by Tommy Orange. This is about a whole bunch of people that are getting ready to go to a powwow, and it's about their stories and how they are all connected and the way that this powwow is connecting them and bringing them together. It's multi-generational. It goes somewhat into the past. It goes into the present. It is a really complicated and interesting narrative. And then I'm gonna do one more recommendation for this, for those of you that have children, because I think that it is our responsibility as adults to educate kids about these issues and to help them be better people than we are. And the earlier we can make them aware and thoughtful of these things, I think the better it is for them. I want to recommend Fry Bread by Kevin Noble Maillard. This is a really, really cute picture book about what it means to be Native American and all the different ways that people are part of the Native American community. And then at the end, it has a really kid-friendly explanation of some of the things that have happened to Native Americans in this country. For each kind of point it makes in the little picture book part, it goes into the history of that and why there are the reasonings behind it. And I really appreciated not just the picture book and the diversity that is represented in this book, but also the explanation at the end. The spot that I have can you hear that? I don't know if you guys can hear the floorboard that is underneath me, but like, if it's gonna be this squeaky, it should be able to come up and be a secret hiding place. Prompt number 3 is thanks for the wisdom, and that is to read a book about family. I will be reading Esperanza Rising by Pam Munoz Ryan. This is about Esperanza. She is a Mexican immigrant that comes to California with her family after something happened. I don't know, I know they had a ranch in Mexico and they were forced to move to California, and then things start happening and she's having to grapple with the fact that her family is changing, that they are being impacted by this move that they have made. It is a historical middle grade novel, and it takes place during the Great Depression. For my recommendations for this one, the first one I'm recommending is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. Angie Thomas does an amazing job of writing families. You are there, part of that family, while you are reading the books. I just adore it. The family dynamic, I loved the family dynamic in The Hate U Give, but my favorite family dynamic is this one. There's a scene in here that I was actually out in public and I'm listening to the audiobook. The kids are being snarky with their mom. Mom's playing along. She's not mad about it. She's playing along. And I just remember I couldn't help laughing out loud with people around me. because it was just that funny. This is about Bree, and Bree wants to be a rapper like her dad. Her dad was killed when she was very, very young. The fallout of that has impacted her life. It has really created some interesting family dynamics between her and her mother and her grandparents and her brother. And she's also dealing with the fact that she has been racially profiled at school recently, and she wrote a rap about that, and it has gone viral, and now she's having to deal with the repercussions of what people are thinking of her because of the words and the feelings that she put in that rap. The other one I want to recommend is Sanctuary by Karen Licks. So this is a different one about family. Like, Bree is definitely in her family, and they are working through things together. This is about Kinsey. She is the daughter of the the commander of this prison space station, and she gets kidnapped by some of the prisoners wanting to escape. They're superpowered, so there's a special superpowered space station prison that has been created. And so they kidnap her, and they're trying to use her to get off of the space station and get back to their families, because most of them are kids, and they've been on the space station since they were very, very young, arrested for the stupidest reasons. And so it's Kinsey having to grapple with the fact that some of the things her parents have told her about these people that they are guarding are not true. It's about her kind of having to come to terms with maybe her family is not right, maybe there are things that they are not being honest about, and also having to deal with the fact that there are dark things going on in this space station. But we won't get into that. And the fourth book-specific prompt is Koda, and that is to read a middle grade book. I will be reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid by Jeff Kinney. I don't entirely remember what this is about. I've read the back many times, and it just has never stuck with me. It's just basically a diary that this kid, Greg, it's basically just a diary that this kid has been keeping throughout middle school, and him having to navigate that. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this, because I've read the first few pages and I wasn't impressed by them and by Greg himself. However, it's the beginning of the book. He's supposed to grow. We'll see. Okay, so y'all knew that I could not recommend a middle grade book without saying read The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, because I love it. I love Percy Jackson, and you should read it. It's about Percy Jackson, and he is 12, and he's dealing with ADHD and dyslexia, and the fact that he cannot stay in a school. He's had 6 schools in 6 years, and I mentioned that song, and now I can't. I'm gonna cry. Anyways, I just said I don't cry, but like, ooh, that song gets ya. Anyways, so it's the end of the school year. Percy discovers that he is the son of Poseidon, and that's why all of these weird things have been happening in his life, and he gets dragged off to Camp Half-Blood after watching his mother basically get murdered, and now he's having to deal with that, and also having to deal with the fact that Zeus thinks that he stole his lightning bolt when Percy knows he didn't steal his lightning bolt, but now he has to go across the country to find the lightning bolt to prove that he did not steal it. I love this series. It is the creation, the reason that my favorite series of all time exists. And yeah, I'm not gonna, you guys have heard me talk about this. I have an entire playlist of Percy Jackson things, so if you want more of that, just go there. The other recommendation that I want to make is Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. Another one I have not shut up about. It's a mess. There's a bookmark in here. I know why there's a bookmark in here. I should not take that bookmark out. It's there for a reason. It's one of the wittiest, funniest fantasies. It's in that era that you have this, like, dealing with dragons, Valley of Tears, Barrel of Laughs, whatever the title of that book is, where it's just really snarky, tongue-in-cheek, Phantom Tollbooth type humor. The chapter headings are ridiculously, like, listen to these, in which Sophie leaves the castle in several directions at once, or where is the Howl one, in which Howl expresses his feelings with green slime. Now that is a classic scene in both the book and the movie. This is about Sophie Hatter, and she offends the Witch of the Waste and gets turned into an old woman, and because, you know, it's the most reasonable thing to do when a witch curses you and turns you into an old woman, she just goes out into the countryside and starts being the housekeeper for this nefarious wizard that's been roaming their countryside, the wizard Howl, who has a moving castle. And then she discovers that there are more issues than just that she has to deal with, but she's trying to get the spell undone from her, but also trying to undo other spells, because it's just a good book. You will laugh, you will think about things. It is also very deep. Like, you really don't think about how deep it is until you've read it the second and third time, because that's just how it works. Those are all the books that I will be reading and the ones that I recommend. I do want to mention that for Salmon Run / Buddy Read a Book with Someone, reading this book technically counts as buddy reading for this, because we are all reading it. There was a Goodreads discussion group that I will be making and have linked down below. Like I said, I don't get any of this stuff together until the night before. But anyways, I also will be starting a Goodreads, a Discord for people who are reading this book who want to discuss it, and also a Discord for people who want to find someone else to buddy read a book with. It does not have to be someone that is doing Vaultathon as well. However, I figure I might as well give you guys kind of a way. Also, if you are looking for someone who might be reading the same book that you're reading, go ahead and tweet with the Vaultathon hashtag, and I'll go ahead and retweet that to see if we can't find you any buddies to buddy read with. Yes, the word is there. Let me know down in the comments what you will be reading for Vaultathon. Have you read any of these? Do you have any other recommendations for any of the prompts that we've got? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, I will have other videos over here. You're on YouTube. You might as well watch another one about Vaultathon or other things that I do on my channel. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!